Welcome to the TCAT 10-minute take. It is I, your host, Sheree L. Stewart, and with me, as always, is my intrepid co-host, Don, the man, the myth, the legend Chambers.
Yes.
And welcome to TCAT, the Theatrical Conjecture and Dissertation, a fancy name for a super unfancy show.
As you can tell by the background.
As you can tell by my robot factory, I am very sophisticated.
Sophisticated.
I feel like a mad scientist. Maybe I can be the next Reed Richards. Hey, Marvel.
Think on it. It's possible.
Think on it. You don't have to say, listen, Kang the Conqueror is already black. And if he's a descendant, listen. Marvel, listen.
Listen.
Listen. I'm really smart and super crazy.
Work. That should work.
All right. It worked for what the thing is that we're talking about today.
It did.
Is we are talking about
Shang-Chi.
And 10 Rings.
And the 10 Rings, yes.
But before we get started, make sure you click that subscribe button and you click on that bell to get all the 10-minute takes as soon as they drop.
Yes.
And as always, Mr. Chambers will go first, and he will get the entire 10 minutes of this because, unfortunately, as a bad Marvelite, I have not seen this movie. It has nothing to do with not wanting to see this movie necessarily. It just has to do with the fact that it's only available in theaters right now, and I'm in North Carolina still, and people are acting real wild out here and very lax in their mask wearing, and we just had, a couple more deaths in the vicinity of family, and it's like, I don't know why nobody's wearing masks out here. Like, nobody's wearing masks, nobody's social distancing, nobody wants to get vaccinated, and yet we're supposed to just go to the movie theaters like it's whatever, and I'm not having it. So I haven't seen this movie yet, and I feel bad about that, but Don has, and he's going to talk about it. So here we go. And go.
Boom, Shang-Chi and the 10 Rings, directed by Destin Daniel Cretton? I'm sure it's not Creton, but I think it's Cretton. Starring Simu Liu, Tony Leung, Awkwafina, and Michelle Yeoh. Oh, let me not forget, spoiler alert, well, I'm sure a lot have seen it by now, but if not, Ben Kingsley is in there back as Trevor Slattery. Love him. He's great. Okay, getting back to the movie. I saw this in the theater. I went with the wife. We saw it like early evening type of deal. We went there. There was actually, I'm going to say, when I say a decent amount now, it's different than what a decent amount back in the day sort of would be. Mm-hmm. So there was people there. It was not a huge crowd in the theater in general. And then when we went into our theater, granted, we could still pick our own seats. God, there must have been maybe 30, 40 people in total in the whole place. And everybody was pretty spread out. So it was, it was easy.
They're not even spreading out. Sorry.
Yeah. So, it was easy to find a seat. It was great to be back in the theater. It felt good. It was good seeing previews. It was good to have the movie theater popcorn and a drink. I was like, oh, this is cool. This movie, I'm happy that it still did good numbers considering what we're still sort of working our way out of. Because not so much for Marvel. Trust me, Marvel ain't hurting for money in any way, shape, or form. It's just mainly I'm still a big proponent in movie theaters. I do want them to stick around in some way, shape, or form. So at least it's slowly starting to get people back there. It's making decent enough money that they're not bailing out on it. So I hope in some way, whether it's the studios buying the theaters up and running it that way, just to make sure they're around. I do want them to stay and get back to seeing movies out there. Not for the movie itself. Good movie. Thoroughly enjoyed. It's again, if you know the Marvel template, it's there. It's a grounded reality movie, but it's got good humor. It has some sort of family-ish aspect to it. Great actions, set pieces, really good act. Like, I know we've seen the trailer of the bus thing. When you see the whole extension of that bus set piece, really good, really good. And there's like a couple more that I was very impressed at. Everybody in there is great. Has some good humor. It really does, especially this whole karaoke thing that goes through. I thought that was really funny. Simu, to me, perfect casting. You know, again, Marvel is really good with their casting.
He hit them up on Twitter too, like years ago, and he was like, "Hey, what's up? What's up?
He ain't dumb. He was perfect casting. Tony Leung, great casting. Michelle Yeoh, wonderful casting. As I mentioned, Ben Kingsley's in there with Trevor Slattery. He might have been the funniest person in this whole damn movie, and I didn't know Ben Kingsley could be funny like this. Loved him in there. What this movie, I think, does is it sort of really solidifies that this phase is getting into a very mystical, otherworldly realm. Because the baddie is going to come from there. It's going to touch on a lot of it. You're going to see fantastical, weird creatures go to a different realm in a different dimension. It's you go in there and you're like, okay, this is where this phase is going. We're going to see a lot more of this. Yeah. Good runtime. It didn't feel too long. It didn't feel too short. Granted, you sort of know the setups, what's happening. You know, you have the reluctant hero willing to accept sort of his mantle of what he should be doing as opposed to what he's actually doing.
Where does this take place in the timeline of Marvel stuff? So this is how long after the blip is over?
I don't know how long after the blip. I don't. Is
it like right around Spider-Man Homecoming, or is it like after that?
That's what I'm saying. Because
or Far From Home.
There was still, I remember still seeing in one of the scenes, there was like some sort of poster about the blip and people that came back, like up on like an alley wall or so. Like, this isn't something where this is years and years later.
Right, okay.
Nothing like that. It didn't blow me away now. Like, I wasn't seeing something that was like, holy cow, this just took Marvel movies to another level. I don't know I'm not sure if necessarily they were even trying for that. But what I think they were definitely trying to do was take this character, which, let's face it, Shang-Chi's not necessarily one of the top tier Marvel characters that gets all the press like a Captain America does in the comic book realm, at least. And they took it and they said, okay, how can we definitely make this very digestible for the Marvel world, and then push him into other spaces where he can be used in this phase 4 and possibly have a bigger role.
Right. Well, Marvel's been really good about that in general, because Iron Man and Thor and certainly the Guardians of the Galaxy, like, none of these were top tier comic book characters the way DC has top tier comic book characters that they're squandering. Like, they've taken these lesser known characters and created something, you know, A-list. And so I get the feeling like he's going to be plugged in like the way Tony Stark was plugged in.
I get the feeling the Shang-Chi character in the comics is even lesser known than like an Iron Man, you know?
Yeah.
And it definitely brought it and it put it out there, and it made it more accessible and easier to understand. And I think it's going to probably push this character as maybe one of the main ones in whatever the culmination Avenger type movie is going to be in the phase. Yeah. I see this character being kind of central pivotal to that. The two after credits sequences were great. They were funny. They don't reveal any sort of like, oh shoot, this is gonna nothing. They keep it very
No future setup.
No future setups. Although they just they do give hints as to, okay, he's sticking around. There will be some more coming for him, but they don't reveal. They're not giving away anything just yet.
Where would you put it on our scale? Our scale.
Definitely opening night on a weekend for sure. Get the ticket, get the popcorn, because you will have fun watching it. It's a good watch. Maybe the hardcore Shang-Chi fans out there might be a little disappointed in what they didn't include, because I'm sure there's more to the character that's not in here. This is sort of a bare bones look at the character, his past, and how to just bring him into the hero mode. I will say, sort of distracting, maybe-ish, was the Awkwafina character. Just because, in the whole scope, like when I watched the movie and I'm thinking, okay, if she was not in the scene, would it have mattered? And it wouldn't. She seemed to be there more as the comedic sort of relief. Mm-hmm. I don't find her that funny.
She doing that black accent?
She wasn't.
Okay.
She was not doing her rapper thing.
Okay.
Although she has a New York accent that you can kind of hear in there. She seems to be trying to sort of get rid of that to kind of be sort of a bland neutral, but you could sort of hear the New York come out. But, I mean, some of what they want to do with her comedically was cool, but for the most part, I'm just like, I don't really, she doesn't even really turn out to be sort of the love interest, which I thought they were turning her into, but it doesn't really stick hard. So that would be the one. I don't necessarily want to say a negative, but it was the one thing that sort of stood out. Like, I'm not sure what her main thing is for here, because they didn't go far enough to make her either the comedy or is she supposed to eventually turn to the love interest. It didn't seem that strong enough to where he would really fall in love with her. She just seemed like the best friend that I'm like, she's not really doing a whole lot for me.
Well, you know what does a whole lot for me?
Do tell.
Visiting the tcadnetwork.com website.
Yes.
Where you can get more of these episodes and more of our 10-minute takes. You can go back into the archives and listen to some of our other reviews of other movies. You can see stuff from our other shows if you want to.
Like Good Morning Antioch.
Good Morning Antioch.
And the Reading,
which I swear S to G is coming back at some point.
Soon.
These things will come back. But you can always visit us at tcadnetwork.com. But you can like and subscribe and hit the bell so you get notifications for all of the 10-minute takes as soon as they drop.
Yes.
And leave a comment. Like, let us know what movies you want us to see. We were floating around some ideas of, I know I was thinking about, I don't even know if I might have just been talking to myself, Don, about doing like 90s 90 and just watching and doing like a quick 90-second rundown of a different 90s movie. And just watching the most random, because I love 90s movies.
You were talking to yourself, but that's a good idea now that I've heard it.
And like just doing like, this was bad. Like just a good quick rundown of a different 90s movie.
90s 90. Yeah.
Because you got to do something with these quarantine hours. Yeah. But let us know what you want us to see in the comments. Let us know if you agree or disagree. Let us know if you liked this movie or didn't. Or if you put it on a different place in the scale. Like maybe you think it's not worth the treadmill time.
Maybe.
Leave us a comment, like, subscribe, share, and also go to tcadnetwork.com.
Absolutely. Till next time.
Till next time.
See ya.